Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry it's been such a long time. The problem for me is that I have a day job looking after 300 children, and at this time of year that gets pretty crazy. It's demanding enough at the best of times, but as we lead up into the summer things just get super silly, and while I use my photography as a means of escape and for my work-life balance, actually in terms of balance there isn't much, because it all seems to be work and very little life. But I'm going to share with you a video that I shot a couple of months ago now, down to Portsmouth and along the seafront from Gunwharf Quays to Southsea Pier and back, taking in quite a few of the sights along the way and ending up with this potentially controversial picture. Stick with me and you'll find out. Was it German now that said journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step? I reckon it begins in a multi-storey car park. And I'm down in Portsmouth today. We're going to have a look at a very modern park where they've converted some of the old docks, and then we're going to stroll along the seafront to Southsea and have a look at what we get there. But I'm always drawn to this crossover of the stairs and the escalators. It makes a nice X. I'm always wondering whether there's something I can get in this image. I'll stay here for a moment or two and see what happens. So we've got some fantastic light this morning. Clear blue skies and lots of harsh shadows, as you can see probably on the floor behind me. You may get some interesting images using the shadows and the contrast there. And for those who want to know, I'm shooting on the M11 today. I've got the Voigtlander 28 on there. As I always say, it's my go-to lens, and the reason for that is it gives me a nice wide angle. I can get up close to people. It's very discreet, looks small as you can see. Also good for longer distance stuff, so get a full wide, quite a wide, almost landscape image into what I'm shooting. It's not coming out right this morning, but you know what I mean. Here's always something of a cheap shot, but you never know. I always like this bit. It's kind of tucked away behind the road, but a few pedestrians seem to know about it, but you've got, it's almost, I know it's an island or a peninsula, but this little bit over here with the pub on it, the Bridge Tavern. I can't remember what that is, a big parking, I think it's a car park. And then you've got all the White Link ferries for the Isle of Wight just to the right. And we're going to follow it round past the fisheries. A very peaceful sight today. Good light, nice reflections, like what's going on down here with reflection of the boat in the water there. There's my shadow, Watcher. Not really a street image, but quite pleasant. Doesn't always have to be street imagery, does it? Perhaps I'll risk something here. So what? F8 set to about 5 meters. And let's try portrait, get everything in. How's about that? Literally a rubbish photo, but I quite like that bin bag floating out there and the rippled reflections of the masts of those yachts. The colours of the bin bag are great. Not bin bag, bread bag. Hovis. I like this. The very formal lines of the clapperboard and the window and the natural shadows of the tree. Potential for some silhouettes here. Just this spot here between the two lamps and the railings and people going through. That harsh light behind. So this is one of my favourite spots. Tide looks like it's in today. It's beautiful blue sky. I love the framing of the archway. And then when you go through, I don't know what we're going to find today, but there is this.
Sorry.
It's all right. There is this fantastic gangplank, walkway, mini pier with people fishing on it, and I've actually got some of my favourite images ever from here. And once on a really stormy cloudy day with some cyclists pulling wheelies up there, and another really hot summer's day with people jumping off. What a great spot. I'm just pausing here for a minute, actually, even without anybody in it. The geometry, composition here, super strong. Be nice to have a bird come through top right. I don't know whether you can see through, but you've got bits and pieces on the coastline further through, the buoys and the markers, and one of those old Victorian forts, island, concrete stone out in the sea, a couple of them actually. So yeah, it's a beautiful day with it all glistening on the water. So this is Broad Street, and it's opposite where I started out this morning. Got the old rail tram lines down the middle of the road, the old cobbles, and lots of old buildings. So we're going to walk down to the end. Aircraft carrier or something in the harbour. Beautiful clouds though. So is this where I get to do the tour guide bit? So you've got Spinnaker Tower here obviously, and then just to the left of that you've got, I think that's Endurance, that's Shackleton's ship, and the masts of the Victory, and I think those sort of triangular roofed buildings, I think that's where the Mary Rose is. And then beyond that obviously you've got this massive modern day aircraft carrier in dock, and swing round down the Solent slowly so as not to make you sick, and out through the gap to the Isle of Wight. And this is very much the older part of town, Georgian, Victorian. That's a lovely little alley, isn't it? Imagine all these places before cars. Very Dickensian. And of course, yeah, this is where Dickens was born, not far from here. It would be nice to see someone walk through on the other side, but it's pretty quiet. Shooting to save the highlights. F8. Looking east, down the coast. I also like the rhythm of the shadows. That could be a good black and white here. Maybe a bit of an angle. I like the composition, the shapes made by these benches, and the solitary couple. At least when you look through the camera lens, they're solitary. When you look on the GoPro, there's quite a bit around, but I can narrow that down. That whole sort of history of Martin Parr and Tony Ray Jones and the images they shot on the seaside in the 60s and 80s. So Parr's Last Resort in New Brighton in Merseyside, and Tony Ray Jones's images on the south coast.
Tickets for the next round.
Yeah.
honest, it's a bit of an embarrassment of riches. What a place. That's up for a pop of colour. Yellow and blue. It's fab. So walking along the seafront, but you wouldn't really know it at the moment because it's all being, I don't know, reconditioned. I think they're building a seawall, and I think that's the D-Day memorial up front because tens of thousands of troops sailed from here on D-Day 81 years ago. So yeah, Southsea, as the wall says. Something and nothing in this frame here. I like just the solid block of blue. You've got the sky above and then this blue wall, and you've got the window and the reflection, not reflection, but the the obscured rectangle made by the window on the floor. Somebody commented in one of my videos, I think it was the one about what should go in a photographer's bag, and they said just a sandwich, and I haven't got a sandwich. I've got a few other lenses today, which is always a mistake because I only ever seem to use the 28. So it's kind of street photography weight workout. That's doing well, but I'm hungry. And where's my sandwich? The end of the road for now. So carry on. And on towards Southsea Pier, where there used to be a beautiful old helter-skelter. That seems to have gone. So there's possibly something here with these people on the rocks, silhouetted, clambering about. Always worth a punt. Get down low to get some of those rocks in the foreground. Maybe even lose the horizon. How's that? If you've seen my videos on Brighton, you know how much I love these things. It's just the compositional dream. You've got frames at the windows, you've got symmetry, you've got people sitting still. Just fab. And then we've got a guy in a hat today, which, yeah, there's always street photography points for a guy in a hat. A little bit of a scene to work here between the bars, who's coming along, and the people sitting having a picnic on the beach. You can see what a slight shift in angle does to the image. You can get people between different frames moving through. So here we are, Southsea Pier, quite a short one, and I think steamers used to moor off it to take people over to the Isle of Wight over there. Anyway, it's looking a little bit tired and shabby underneath, but who'd be so rude as to look underneath? Aware that standing near all the seagulls probably isn't the best plan, but I love the shadows, and I'm very near the bin, so definitely in their home turf. So here's something I like. The lines of the zebra crossing here lead the eye straight into the image, and what we've got going across the front is a kind of conveyor belt of people, which against that bright sky is quite a silhouette. So it's quite fun. Obviously best when people are on their own, but bikes and scooters and that sort of thing coming through are pretty cool. There's a little girl on a scooter. See what I mean? Constant flow. Nice silhouette, nice leading lines. Sorry. Okay, so that's 3 miles east I've headed. Time to turn around and head back. I guess it'll be 3 miles west. It's amazing how much more you spot on the way out than on the way back. Tiredness, hunger. I love how the people are just so of today. 30 years time, this will, you know, such a statement about what people wore, what people did. It's all going to change. And also go to a different country. This is so English. It's interesting.
I'm not getting candy from
And out the other side. Again, slight shift in the light. Lovely silhouettes, lovely light on the water. Nice composition. Thank you very much. Same again, a bit lower. Always drawn to this. Something here too, keep playing on the rails. Move back in now, but when you see something happen, chances are it's going to happen again. Stick with it. Meanwhile, ferry is edging ever closer. That girl staring out to sea, light on her hair. Really lovely light, not that you need me to tell you. Just wait for it to move past these guys, then we get them silhouetted against the sky again and silhouette the ship. You can even see the cars on the decks. Look. Another second or two. There we go. Thank you. It's a wrap. So at the beginning of the video, I mentioned this image and I described it as a controversial picture. Let me explain why. So I shot this on my way back at the end of the day from the hip, saw this couple coming towards me and she was clearly interested in what I was doing. You can see the very clear eye contact here as they made their way, I think it's safe to say, fairly slowly along the seafront. And I thought very little of it. I wasn't really expecting to be doing anything with it when I got back. But as soon as I got it up on the screen, I noticed this title here, which gives me the title for the image really, on the shop selling shakes and waffles. And this is the controversial bit, because I really like the idea that here is shakes and here is waffles, and in some way that the title of the shop is indicating their personality traits. Now I don't want to labour the point, certainly they look like a really sweet couple. She was full of smiles as she saw me coming. I didn't ask for the shot because I never do, and I hadn't seen the sign at the time. So the question is this fair game? Should I post it, or should I write it off as something which is not appropriate? I like to think that they would smile and laugh and joke with me. I don't particularly feel that I'm laughing at them. None of us are getting any younger, and I'm not that far off shaking myself, and waffling I've already got. Anyway, it raises quite a few questions about the ethics of street photography. I like the cone here. It tells us something about where we are, the seaside perhaps, but you know, the fast food background with the wimpy, the fish and chips, the shakes and waffles. This is very much a seaside photo. Compositionally, well, I managed to squeeze them both into the frame, but in terms of composition, it's not really about that. This photo is really about the caption, shakes and waffles. The second image relies very heavily on the contrast in the shopping centre at the beginning. The choice of black and white for the image was really a no-brainer. So here's the bird caught between the lines of the shadows of the roof. There are people in the background. There's an argument that says the image really should be cropped about there to cut the people out. But to me, they add a little bit of sense of scale, a little bit of a sense of where we are, because there's no other indication that this is anywhere people might be, certainly not a shopping centre. And the other thing I like about it is that I know that with the pigeon, this is a very transitory image. It's a fleeting moment, because in a few seconds these people are going to have moved along and the bird will fly off. But it's the black and white, it's the heavy blacks and the bright whites that make this for me. And then, of course, the other extreme. The seaside is all about having fun. It's all about the bright colours. This is, every single colour you can imagine is in this image. And I like the fact that there are so many layers, from the handlebars of the toy motorbike in the front, through the racetrack, down to these three girls having a bounce. This girl doing the star jump is the absolute star of the show, and then you go beyond to the rocks and the Isle of Wight in the background and these clouds. So there's a lot of depth in this image. I like the way the lines channel the eye through to those three girls there, but there's an awful lot to see, an awful lot going on. I particularly like this girl just caught mid-slide as she comes down this inflatable chute on the right hand side. So yeah, three very different images, two black and white, one highly colourful, and then this one. I may well have cropped the video out by now, but I keep coming back to this image. The greens of the sea, the fish really contrasting there in their bluey greys, underneath the pier at Southsea, and here are the shadows, this is me, and the shadows on the edge of the pier. So it's another one of those questions, when is street photography not street photography? Well, this isn't street photography, but it is about people, and that to me is what street photography is about, only in so much as I was there. I guess without the shadow, technically speaking, it's sea life photography, I guess. I would never call myself a sea life photographer, but if you only had that much of the image, then that wouldn't really be considered street. The jury is out, folks. You can let me know in the comments below. And lastly, if I get this far and show you this much, this one, I didn't really feel I got any absolute keepers on the day, but I do like a lot of aspects of this. I like the harsh black and white. I like the rigid lines of the steps, the zigzag of the handrail going down, and these contrast really nicely with these gentle curves of the seating or the steps, and the curve going round meeting this other curve here. It's a series of curves in the middle third of the image, and then you've got the softer, much softer natural elements of the sea and the sky, a tanker going by over there and one of the Solent forts against Napoleon there. So harsh black and white in the foreground, fading to softer greys in the background, and one solitary person tuned out, headphones on, reading. Beautiful summer's day. Thanks for joining me. I'm sorry it's taken me quite so long to get that one out. There's a bit of a holiday coming up, so I'm hopeful, ever hopeful, that there'll be a few more in a little bit faster succession. Anyway, if you have enjoyed it, please do give me a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. It would be great to have you on board. Till next time, take care.